Entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals who seek excellence, bringing the business classroom to you. It's the Business Builders Show. Here's Marty Wolff.
We still got a long way to go. Yes, we all got a long way to go.
Welcome to the Business Builders Show with Marty Wolff, the show for entrepreneurs, business owners, and business leaders. I'm Marty Wolff, your host for the Business Builders Show, and along with my executive producer, DC Taylor, we will be your guides on this learning journey. Let me tell you my super objective in being with you today. I want to enthusiastically share stories and information to inspire leaders. That's you, by the way, so you can inspire others. My guest with me today, who I've been looking forward to speaking with, is David Pursell. Hi, David. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Thrilled you're here. David Pursell is the founder and CEO at FarmLinks at Pursell Farms, which is located in Sylacauga, Alabama. Okay, so David, I looked at your background. It looks like you grow up in Sylacauga, Alabama, and now Pursell Farms, your company, is based there. What makes this place so special for you and your companies?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. So I was raised in a small town, 12,000 people, kind of right in the center of Alabama, just below Birmingham. And went to Auburn University and ended up moving back here, got married, had 6 children. Now I have 6 grandchildren. Mm-hmm. And just having a great time living very close to where I grew up, but also about 7 generations of family before that. So Pursell Farms is just kind of one of the outgrowths of a business strategy that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, it looks like you, I guess we'll start here. It looks like you turned the traditional fertilizer business on its head. I guess this is where FarmLinks got started. So tell me about this. As a matter of fact, it says, somewhere along my notes, FarmLinks, the world's first research and development golf course and fertilizer. Connect that for me, David. Tell me that story.
Okay, so it starts back in 1904 when my great-grandfather started a very small fertilizer business in Sylacauga, Alabama, servicing about a 10-mile radius of Sylacauga, so very, very small. And that's when fertilizer used to come out of the back end of animals, if you can think back that far. But we grew that company, or the family did, and myself, my brother, my sister, each entered the family fertilizer business at a relatively early age. Myself, right out of Auburn, and we had this controlled release fertilizer technology that was just unbelievable that we developed. Now, again, we're Sylacauga, Alabama-based fertilizer business, and all of a sudden, what I wanted to do is to compete, especially in the golf market, on a national scale. So golf course fertilizers for, golf courses grown from, South Florida all the way up to Alaska, so to speak, or certainly up through Michigan, say, and into Canada. And but I knew we had this great technology. It was kind of a value sell because it lasted much longer than other products that were out there, and I had to figure out a way to tell the story to convince people to at least try it, and that was really my goal, was just to get them to trust us enough to where they would actually try this product, because if they tried it, I knew that they would continue to use it. So I had this brainstorm of an idea. Now, I went to Auburn University, and I was a commercial art major. So you would think that somebody who grew up in a family fertilizer business would have gone into agronomy or something like that.
Right.
I think I'm a little bit more akin to P.T. Barnum than I am some agronomist, So I'm a marketing guy, always coming up with ideas. And so our family had a farm located outside of Sylacauga, about 10 miles, and 3,200 acres, beautiful piece of property, elevation up to about 1,100 feet, just great pasture land and plenty of water. And my wife and I had moved out here right after we got married and started our family. And I noticed that if we could ever get a potential customer of any kind out to the farm, they just absolutely loved it. And it's kind of like they let their inhibitions down, and you could get in kind of inside their head and their heart, build a relationship with them. And this is well before the strategy came. So I finally became CEO of the family fertilizer business in 1997, and I just had this idea to relocate the business now, which had gone from manures to, we used to call ourselves the connoisseurs of manures. That was one of my trade lines I came up with as an artist.
I love it.
But we had morphed into this real high-tech polymer-coated fertilizer that was a long-lasting product. We had about 85 different products in the line. We had it as small as like a grain of sand that you could put onto a bent grass green, or much, much larger that would go into a fairway or a rough. And so my big idea was to kind of jump the shark on the way that fertilizers were sold. And what I wanted to do, since I had a finite market, there's 16,000 golf courses in the United States at the time.
Right.
They were building about 400 new courses a year. So I was kind of riding that wave. And what I wanted to do is to get them on our home turf on a fully paid junket to Central Alabama to visit a small family-owned company. So getting that pump primed was a bit of a chore, but the first year, the word of mouth really started to spread, and these customers absolutely loved it. So they would come to Alabama, they would fly in and land in Birmingham, and from that time on, we controlled their complete itinerary. And it was all about really, really good food, a lot of fun, and, eventually once we got to a place in the process, the itinerary, and the relationship, we would start to introduce ideas for helping them to maintain their turf, no matter where they were, whether they're in Florida or Michigan.
All right, let me jump in, David. So I want everybody to be clear. The traditional view, correct me if I'm wrong, the traditional way to take a fertilizer or any product like that to golf courses or to whoever, farms, is for typically a salesperson to jump in a car, have the books, have the samples, and travel all over the country. You didn't do that. You did what you're describing now. You invited people to your place, right? Am I saying this all right?
That is correct.
So you gave them some good old-fashioned Southern hospitality, and as a result of that, your fertilizer business grew. I couldn't wait to say that word. Your fertilizer business grew. So, but is that pretty much it? Is that accurate?
Well, it was kind of a weaponizing of Southern hospitality.
Okay.
You're correct. So the typical way for a fertilizer company to sell product back in the day, all of our bigger, much, we were competing against public entities,
gigantic companies.
They were just huge companies, and they would hire these salespeople, put them in every state, maybe two per state, at about $125,000 fully burdened cost.
Wow!
And then they send them out with this notebook full of full of products, and the chance for our product even being mentioned in a visit.
It was slim.
These salespeople were going to a superintendent who had a full day of work going on. He may give them 10 minutes or 5 minutes, or may give them 30 minutes, but they would talk about football and other things for most of that time, and then finally get down and introduce one or two different products. So we wanted our story to get told and explained. And this was the best way we knew to do it.
Think back. I'm sitting here kind of in amazement. So you're bringing people. Was there a golf course there?
Originally there was not. There was one planned, but we had this guest lodge that was amazing. It was still pretty small. It was only we brought in small groups who never brought in more than 20 customers at the time, because we needed to. What we wanted to do is over a 48-hour period of time is get to know them. So if we were going to bring in 100 people, there's no way I would have, or even some of our people working with us would have gotten to know everybody.
Yeah. So
these small groups, it was great, and it just absolutely worked well. And literally by the next morning after they arrived, their whole countenance had changed, and their body language and everything. Because when they got there, they were like, "Are you trying to sell me, beachfront property in Kansas or what?"
Right. Yeah. Well, I could understand that. That's why I'm thinking, okay. So they first of all, I'd love to hear what you said to them to get them to come down. Maybe that's a whole other show. But there they are, come down across wherever they came from, because they're coming from all over the place. So you wowed them with hospitality and with food and fun and relaxing. So this turned into, as I'm looking at the words, research and development. So when they got there, were you like sharing formulas with them? Were you talking about how this works? Did you ask for their help? To give me a little more information on what you did when you finally got to talking about fertilizer.
Yeah, well, so there's a statement, a quote that says, "I heard and I forgot. I saw and I remembered. I did and I understood." So what we wanted to do is get them kind of out in a living laboratory, which nobody else had thought about doing. Again, I'm competing against guys going in with notebooks full of products to call on these same superintendents. We wanted to get them out of their environment, out of their daily worries, and to be able to introduce concepts that would give them a much better, greater tool to work with than had ever been developed. So the product was that good. If the product had not been good, then you could have done good hospitality and made a few friends, but they're not going to buy something unless they know it can help them.
The product has to work, and obviously it did. So I want to get to Pursell Farms, but first of all, my guest is David Pursell. Obviously, he's a charming artist and kind of a Barnum and Bailey kind of salesperson, I guess, which I say in love. And he is running Pursell Farms. You can learn more about them at PursellFarms.com. So you had some success, and then eventually sold the fertilizer business, correct?
Yes, we hosted over 10,000 of the country's 16,000 golf course superintendents. And along the way, we went from number 6 in the country in controlled release fertilizers to number 1.
Wow.
And just had unbelievable success. We were able to change or to garner 90% of the people that we brought in eventually did business with us on a meaningful scale, which is unbelievable. And we were making a huge investment flying people in and paying their airfare and that type thing. Yeah. But the results were such that this was something that was so different, so unique, and so much appreciated by these, this class of golf course superintendents coming in that, and nobody could really pick up on what we were doing and how we would do it, and this took years of planning.
Sure, a lot of work. Yeah.
But the other thing is that we rode the wave of
the growth
of the golf,
the growth industry,
and then we actually sold the business. It was in 2006, so that was a good time to sell anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and so we were left with this research and demonstration golf course, Farm Links, which is Alabama's #1 ranked public access golf course. And so then we started to say, okay, we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do, because we didn't sell that asset. We just sold the fertilizer, the trademarks, the patents, and intellectual property. And so we have, for the last, say, 12 years, we have been in the planning for what we have launched now, which is a boutique resort property that people are coming to. There's only 81 guest suites down here, but we have Orvis Shooting Grounds. The family that owns Orvis, the Perkins family, has a business located on the property, 3,200 acres, hunting, fishing, golf. We do UTV rides, horseback riding, a spa. Built a new wonderful inn. We have 3 restaurants on property, and it's just gorgeous. It's less than an hour from Birmingham and about a little over 2 hours from Atlanta.
So just going to the website, David, you can see how elegant and beautiful it is. And if you can go to their website, it's PursellFarms.com. So now, David, I'm going to ask you to share some of this secret sauce, if you will. You call it a weaponized Southern hospitality strategy, and I see some points here, and probably already covered the first one. An excellent or differentiated product or service. I guess you did that with the fertilizer business, and apparently you're doing that with Pursell Farms. Am I right there? That's a key component, is that you have to have a product or service that if you describe it to and can demonstrate it to a potential customer, that they will buy it. People aren't going to buy schlock, as I call it. Right.
And so you have to have a good product or service. That absolutely is number one.
Start there. It has to have that wow factor. I got it. So the next point says high quality hospitality location. And
correct.
It goes on to say
more important. So you need to be, your hospitality location needs to have some attraction to it, but it needs to be in an undistracted area, because what you've got is a limited amount of time, of focus to get to know and get to describe your products, and it's the Southern way takes more time than maybe other ways of doing things. So relationships, or down here, people sit in rocking chairs for hours and just talk about football and whatever.
Yeah.
And but if you can get people to unwind from the busyness of their day, you can build a relationship with them, and that's kind of the key there.
Yeah.
Undistracted, helps you to build a relationship.
So how important is that? Is it for your entire team to understand what you're doing? Obviously, high-quality hospitality, it takes a whole team. How important is it for them to understand what you're doing?
Huge, because we had a strategy that everybody understood and believed in, because they had seen it work as well. So it was working for everybody, and the more product we sold, then the more money everybody made, and everybody did very, very well back in that time. So good people that believe in the overall strategy is huge. I mean, you can't do it by yourself. I guess you could if you were just selling life insurance or something like that, but
not if you're running Pursell Farms. You can't.
No. We have about 200 people here for sure.
And all working the Southern hospitality strategy. So we can't hit all 10, David. I want to pick out a couple that I really found really interesting. It's all interesting, but we can't cover them all. So you have groups down there. I suppose some corporate folks have some meetings down there. I'm sure that happens. You have weddings down there. You have all different kinds of things. Again, go to their website, PursellFarms.com. You'll just see how beautiful and elegant it is. So let's pretend we're in a corporate conference. One of the bullet points that I see here in the Weaponized Southern Hospitality Strategy is plan every minute of their visit. Intentionality is the key. Talk to me more about that, David.
Yes, so from the time that our guest landed, we had already figured out, okay, we've got an hour-long bus ride from the airport to the farm. So what we did was we came up with an entertaining but informative video for them to kind of watch while they're driving through Birmingham and through the Alabama countryside, so that we were prepping their, the entirety of their visit. So every group that came, okay, so we brought 2 groups a week for 42 weeks out of the year. So, it's like summer camp almost. Mm-hmm. So when they would come, most everybody, we would do the same thing the same way every time, depending upon the weather sometimes, so that if you plan out everything and you build in, there needs to be plenty of downtime. We believed in something called fun first, which means when they would come in, we did not try to sell them anything the first day. It was all about, hey, okay, we're going to go fish, we're going to go play golf, we're going to go shoot, we're going to eat 3 meals before we ever try to sell you anything. And that was part of the strategy. It's just kind of like, again, it's weaponized Southern hospitality.
I love it.
A key descriptor there.
I love it. And, I'm trying to think of more words other than beautiful and articulate. And what a wonderful place for anyone to attend. But if you had to, here's your opportunities to tell me and tell our business audience, who do you want to call? Who do you want to visit your place? Who do you want to host on there? Is it corporate? Is it golfers? Talk to me more about that. Be descriptive, if you will. Yeah.
So today, what we do is we offer a whole variety of hospitality, whereas at one time we were unidimensional. We were basically golf, basically men, and at one time we only had 8 rooms, and it was just for the business strategy. Now we have our biggest business is corporate groups, and a corporate group can be 4 people or it can be 140 people.
Right.
And they come in, again, they're coming to an undistracted environment. Our culinary is awesome. It's really, really good, very Southern, and there are lots of things to do, but we also have lots of places to meet, and we're essentially providing the environment that made us successful, and sometimes the expertise. If a company wants our opinion on, hey, I've got this group of customers coming in, what do you suggest? We are more than happy to work with them, to give them advice. We don't tell them to do anything, but we know that it works so well for us. We ended up building this little small fertilizer company and sold it for 9 figures before you got to a decimal point.
Amen.
And it was just unbelievable how it worked. But I think that the strategy would still work today. I'm surprised that more people don't really invest in relationships as much to be able to sell their product.
I'm with you. That is the right way to do it. This discussion has been a delight. My guest has been David Pursell. He is the founder and CEO at Farm Links at Pursell Farms. His website is PursellFarms.com. That's Pursell, PursellFarms.com. Anybody listening to this show, all kinds of business lessons, all kinds of ideas on how to build relationships. And for goodness sake, book some rooms down there and have your corporate conference with David. That's what I suggest, David. You okay with that?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I figured you would be. So anything last minute? We're kind of wrap up, but is there anything that I missed or any point you want to drive home to finish up?
No, I would just say that if someone listening to this podcast does either book a group or want to talk to me, they can certainly call down, and I'm even I'm asked almost on a weekly basis to go into a group because they want to hear this story told to maybe their sales force or just kind of something inspiring, and love to do that. But we are a family business. We're not a main flag. We're not like a Marriott or Hilton or Hyatt, or not that that's bad. We're just a family that knows how to do hospitality and do it well.
Thank you so much, David. It's been a treat.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for listening to the Business Builders Show. To learn more about me, and I'm Marty Wolff, go to MartyWolffBusinessSolutions.com. That's MartyWolffBusinessSolutions.com. To learn more about Kelly Hoey, go to her website, which is jkellyhoey.co. That's jkellyhoey.co. And of course, you can find Kelly and Marty on LinkedIn and Twitter. A reminder, you can find all our Business Builders shows on iTunes, Spotify, and on your favorite podcast app.
Bringing the business classroom to you. It's the Business Builders Show with Marty Wolff.